With more, I want to bring in CTV's political commentator and the former leader of the NDP, Tom Mulcair. Good morning, Tom. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Marcia.
So there is some confusion out there. Some provinces believe, we don't know how, you might have some insight into that they're getting doses of the vaccine. They haven't have hard numbers. Yet the health minister, Patty Hajdu, is saying that it hasn't even been approved, let alone discussed how it's going to be distributed. Are these health ministers from the provinces jumping the gun?
Well, Minister Christine Elliott is highly respected, and she's done an amazing job throughout this pandemic. So I think she's not basing herself on numbers she's pulled out of thin air. What she's looking at is what's already been announced by the federal government, is that there's going to be a per capita distribution, looking at the contracts that are available and making a supposition based on that. But there's one way to clarify this, Marcia. It's for the federal government to explain exactly how much is going to flow to those provinces. It's not enough to send in a parliamentary secretary to say, oh, no, they've got it wrong. Okay, then what is the real number? Where the federal government is being very prudent here, they don't want people to start realizing that it's not clear where Canada stands in the queue. Where are we in the lineup? Once these vaccines start to roll out, what's exactly in our contracts? They've been trying to block those contracts from being looked at in parliamentary committee because it's pretty safe bet that Canada is not going to see any of those vaccines, for example, before the United States. So when do we get them? And it'll, of course, be a real political problem for the Trudeau Liberals if we see Americans getting them for weeks, if not months, before we actually get them. So I think that's the real reason we're seeing so much hesitation on the part of the government.
Okay. Do you feel, Tom, that they should be more transparent with Canadians about this?
It's the only way to be. Because if you're not clear and transparent, it simply opens up the door for all the Looney Tunes conspiracy theories that are out there on the internet. You know, people got together last weekend in Steinbach, Manitoba, and they said, don't wear masks. It's a mind control exercise by the government. I know that sounds nuts, but people actually believe that. So to the extent that the only way to deal with it is to be consistent, transparent, and fully honest, I think that's what's missing right now.
And so with vaccines, how important is it for Canadians to feel that the proper regulations and safety checks are in place once that vaccine is available on the market? What does the Canadian government need to do in terms of messaging to make sure that we all trust what we're putting in our arm?
Well, they're doing it on what they call a rolling basis. So as soon as the information comes in from the manufacturers, we're looking at it. We're doing that in lockstep with our American counterparts. They are highly reliable when it comes to this type of health analysis. Even while Mr. Trump is still there, we can trust what's coming out of the American regulatory system. They're very tough on analysis and enforcement. So I think that we should be okay on that regard.
All right, CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair, thank you for coming on, and thank you for using Looney Tune.